In this video, I'm going to show you how to do this glowing scribble effect right inside of Adobe After Effects. So let's get into it. So once you're inside of Adobe After Effects and you've got some footage on the timeline, we can go ahead and create this paint effect. So to begin with, we'll go up onto this paintbrush icon here, and we'll just double select the composition. Now from here, you want to go into the brushes window, and we've also got the paint window. We want both of those loaded up. So go into brushes, and from here we can see we've got the diameter of the brush. So this is how big the brush is going to be. We've got the angle, so we can add an angle onto this. We've got the roundness. So if we have it at 100%, we're going to create this circle, and if we have this at 0, we'll create more of this effect. We've got hardness, and obviously that is what it says on the tin. If it's at 100, it's going to be hard. If it's down at 0, it's going to be soft and blended. And then we've got some spacing, so we can add some spacing onto this, but I'm not a huge fan of spacing. I keep this down as minimal as possible, so around 10% or so. Next, we've got the brush dynamics. We've got pen pressure and all of this stuff. We can just keep this on pen pressure, and everything else here is fine. Now from here, we'll go into the paint window, and you want to go ahead and select mode. Now mode you want to keep as normal, channels you want to keep as RGBA, and duration needs to be single frame. Basically, we are doing this frame by frame, so every single frame in this animation will require a new paint. So if I draw on here, if I move over one frame, that has now disappeared, and that's how we're going to do this. So we'll go back into brushes and we'll select a suitable size. So we'll pull the diameter down to around 30. We'll increase the roundness to about 70 or so. Keep the angle at around 50%, and we'll pull the hardness up to 100%. So this is our effect. I'm going to pull that down a little bit though. There we go. That looks cool. So from here, we'll go back into paint and we'll change the paint color to white. So this is what we're working with here. And then you want to figure out roughly where you're going to put the paint. So figure out a rough track first, because once you commit to this, it's a lot of work to go back and change it, because you essentially have to start from scratch. So to begin with, I'm just going to start by animating around myself. So I'll start on the bottom left, go all the way up and come around. So we'll go roughly 1 second in, we'll zoom in, and I'm just going to draw some paint here. Now we'll move 1 frame to the right and we'll put some more paint here. 1 frame to the right, we'll push that up a touch, 1 frame again. This doesn't need to be perfect. Of course, if it is perfect, then it's going to look neater. But because this is such a quick transition, you don't need to be completely close to the body. You can come off just a little bit, and that is fine. There you go. And now we're just going to finish this off. This is the last one here. We'll zoom back out, and if we go back in time, you can see this paint now scribbles around myself. Of course, it was a really quick effect. But if you wanted to add some different paint onto this, so let's say you wanted to add some yellow, we can just go ahead and select yellow. At the same time as the white going around, we can also zoom in and we can add in some yellow animation. So the yellow is just going to come in this gap here. It's just going to animate around. I'm just going to get that to circle in this gap here. So it's coming around here. We'll do the same thing on the opposite side. We'll just follow this line down here. We'll do that again. As you can see, I'm being really rough with this. It doesn't need to be perfect at all. And then I'm just going to add some animation on the shirt, maybe in a different color. So we'll go for a blue. Press OK on this. We'll go back on ourselves, so around here. And I'm just going to go around the details of the shirt. So here, we'll do this. Right, now if I zoom back out and I go from that very beginning, you can see we've got the white, the blue, and the yellow animating around. We don't have to just stick to the character in the foreground though. We can also do some stuff on the background. So whilst that's happening in the foreground, we'll select purple. We'll zoom into the TV on the back and we can do some animation on this TV. So I'm going to increase the brush size. I'm going to change the angle down to -180. We'll pull the roundness down to 0%. And we'll just go ahead and we'll create this line animation on the TV. Now there you go, that does look really awesome. Although it's brief, it does look cool. So we'll go back into our composition, and this is the effect on the footage. Now, if I wanted to add some glow onto this effect and this effect only, then you will see if we go into effects and presets, search for glow. If we drop this onto the footage, everything is now affected. So how do we work around this? So the solution for this is to basically get rid of the footage and only show the paint that we've just animated on. And to do so, we need to go up into paint and select paint on transparent. So as you can see, only the paint is showing now. This was the effect that we just created. But of course, that does mean the video is now missing. So we have to duplicate that footage layer. And on the layer below, so the bottom layer, you want to select the paint and the glow, delete both of those. So that means we've got one layer with the paint and then we've got one layer without the paint. So this means we can add as much glow to this animation as we want and it won't affect the original layer, as you can see. It's also really cool because we now don't have to stick to this footage. We can now add some flicker effects to reveal this paint underneath. So if we zoom into this footage around here, we'll go Command-Shift-D, move over one frame, Command-Shift-D, move over another frame, Command-Shift-D, and another frame, Command-Shift-D. We'll delete the first and the third gap there. And now we can have this flicker effect. And as it's flicking, we can still see the paint underneath. But that is the basics of how you create this hand-drawn scribble effect with a glow applied to that effect. Thank you for watching this video. I really do appreciate your support, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. See you there.